And you'd correct me if I'm wrong, sir.
Mm-hmm.
No man wants his woman to be out like that. Right?
Yeah, I don't know what they getting so mad at this woman for. It don't sound like she said a thing wrong to me. It was the woman's opinion. She was asked a question. I could see if she was violating somebody when she said it, because that right there, that's just respectful as the message could have been delivered. It's just different times. When you got a figure like Phylicia Rashad that opens their mouth about the norm of today's goings on and all of that, everybody ain't trying to hear that, man. Everybody ain't trying to hear from the OG of the women, right? Especially when it pertains to the women, especially black women. And I mean that respectfully. I'm just saying when it comes to black folks, we gonna always have something to say when we feel like somebody older than us is trying to give us game because it might not come off the best way. But in this case, it seemed like she was really, speaking game from a respectful standpoint. So I see some folk, well, women, was feeling a way towards Phylicia Rashad for answering a particular question. When she was asked during the interview with the Breakfast Club, right, they got on the subject of how drastic of a change it is nowadays compared to back in the day. How at a point, dignity and grace actually mattered when it was a thing to carry yourself, with class when if you were a woman. So of course she answers. That's the part that some are kind of like missing. She responded. She complied. She wasn't butting in to make anybody feel less than. I don't think that was the woman's goal. She was being genuine. That's what it seemed like to me. When she did, as usual, when she did answer, it was another one of those what I call debate sparker when it only take a couple seconds of a shared clip and that's all it takes. That's all it takes. Then you got one response begets another response until it's a whole thing between either races or sexes or both, especially when it does involve black folk. But a lot of women understood where the woman was coming from. The message was comprehended, and then others came at her, throwing shade at her, saying stuff like, why would we listen to somebody who stood up for Bill Cosby? And they were saying some other things too, but here's her full response.
And I don't mean to be critical, and I hope young ladies listening don't take this as personal criticism, because I don't mean it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But you're young queens, beautiful and smart and brilliant and bright. And it really, I know I'm taken aback when I see on a college campus young women dressed in strips of clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd correct me if I'm wrong, sir.
Mm-hmm.
No man wants his woman to be out like that. Right?
No, I grew up on Method Man saying wearing 3/4 of cloth, never showing your stuff off.
And like you said, there are ways of being sexy without showing so much.
Oh, please. And that's really not sexy.
I mean, one of the most sexiest, most beautiful pictures is you. I forgot what year it was, but you got on like a basketball jersey and like some jeans, you eating some popcorn. That is...
Not everybody was feeling that. Not everybody was feeling it. Even as elegant, respectful, and as calm as she put it. All that felt offended by it. All they heard was stop dressing like a thought. That's all they heard. That's all they heard. Which basically is what it is, but she put it in a way where it's like, listen, young ladies, listen up here. Right? I mean, but here's my thing. Did it really take for this elder woman to have a conversation with Charlemagne the God for some of these women to feel degraded? Because she touched the soul when she said what she said. It was so simply put, but for some women it hit home, right? Can't get mad at somebody for saying what they see and saying y'all could do better. Because us as men, we hear it all the time. We always get that, right? Let's get real. Let's get real for a minute. As a man, when I see women with little to nothing on, I'm talking about just 1 or 2 days out the week in the summer, maybe. Not an everyday thing. It can be attractive in the moment, yeah. We're wired to at least glance when we see a little something, something, right? it's very much so a limit though. When you show off so much, then it's like, okay, now wait a minute. Leave something to the imagination. Don't show me everything. Not right here, not now. The mystique end up being taken away. And in that case, there's nothing to look forward to. Like, damn, I see it all. You just showed every detail in the birthmark. Then it's, well, what's special about you? It's a repetitive trend. A million of the same or one in a million. You messed that up. I don't need to get you on a date because I'm trying to see something later on. I just seen something right damn now. It's nothing special about you. I can't look at you as a queen or goddess because you're not moving like one. You're not looking at yourself as one. Can't bring you home to mama. Can't bring you home to the family. Which is why I can also stop and glance at a woman with no skin showing, because trust and believe, to me, it's just as sexy. We can't see the goodies. It's sexy when we can't see them, I think. The goodies are wrapped up, they're put away. That's for later. You don't get a cookie right now. You don't get a goodie right now. It's like, oh, okay, she's different. She's not a Cardi or Meg Thee Stallion follower. The respect, the self-love is there. The queen vibes, they're there. I can bring that to moms though. She got some sense and quality about herself. This is what we be thinking, whether y'all think so or not. You know what I mean? I don't mind being seen walking down the street with her. She different. Now also, I ain't speaking for every man, right? I can't do that because obviously every man don't feel the same way I feel. I'm just making it a point to say, stop thinking that all dudes' mind is stuck in the gutter like that. Can't have us all in the same box because you might end up getting embarrassed and disappointed. They be thinking we all be so simple, right? We all be so simple-minded that all it take is a little bit of ass to shake, and that's it. They got us in the palm of their hands. Nah, it ain't like that for everybody. With that being said, I get that some women dress how they dress for them. Just for them. It ain't even got nothing to do with a man, and I respect that. Because you got to be good with yourself. It's about self-confidence. That's the whole point of it all right there anyway. And if that's the case, doesn't that go right back to what Phylicia was talking about? It seemed like that's all the more reason. It's like, why would you want to, have yourself looking a certain way if you are about your self-confidence? If you're doing it for yourself, then you're showing that you're good with that. But I'm going to leave it like this. Live your life how you want to live it. Dress how you want to dress. But here's a little bit of game. Sexy and trashy ain't the same thing. That's all. Realest one. I'm gone.
And you correct me if I'm wrong, sir.
Mm-hmm.
No man wants his woman to be out like that.
Mm.
Right?